Now I'm walking through one of our favorite clover fields down here in the bottom. And we have about 10 clover fields here out on the property that total about 3 acres. We have about 17, 18 acres of plots altogether. And these clover plots can be a beautiful addition to your hunting arsenal. I would not want these clover plots within a habitat management plan and deer management on a professional level to be the only plots we have out here. These are beautiful, but they do serve their purpose. We have a lot of bucks hitting this. In fact, we need to take a leaf out of the front of that camera right over there because we have bucks coming through here quite often. There's one down here when we just rolled in. But these clover plots are really important to us because it gives us the answer to that small hunting plot that we're looking for, as long as we have other food sources in the area that support the actual movement on a daylight basis. You know, you have to have, in order to have a hunting plot, you have to have what I call a holding plot, where a deer herd is exiting their bedding area and then traveling to in the afternoon that holds them until dark. Now, destination fields, like the big ag fields around here, they're out there at night, all night long. I really don't care where the deer go after dark. I want to look at that movement and say what I can do to not only eventually hunt these deer in the fall, but how can I protect them? How can I grow this herd? How can I manage a herd? How can I protect them during the daylight? And this clover plot not only offers a great spot to hunt in the fall, and I'll tell you why in a second, but it offers a great spot to lengthen that time where they're exiting from bedding over here, coming through this plot during the daylight, and then still hitting a bigger food source that might be 200 to 300 yards away from here on our own land during the daylight. That's a lot of time. They're down here sometimes 2 hours before dark or 2 hours after daylight. So they're down here during the daylight, and that's lengthening the time they're on our property. We're controlling, and that's time management for deer. So that's really important. What I find is when you have this smaller percentage of food plot and you're setting it up for that summer use, and you have that complementing holding plot nearby, then the deer don't rely on this for their only source of food. That's a good thing because it takes the pressure off this food source. This food plot in particular down here, we had green clover down here, and it was fairly lush in through the end of November to early December. That's about when it petered out. If this was the only thing we had planted, it would have been down to the dirt sometime in October. It would have been not a very good offering for us. So by having the complement somewhere else, it allows us to hold that volume of attraction in this location. Clover is easy to manage. We don't have to keep ripping up the soil. You find every time we come and rip up the soil or get it down to bare dirt to plant, we have that problem of weeds coming in. This clover right here is due for a mowing. I can see various weeds coming in, but it's really strong. When we mow this clover comes back even thicker. This is actually the second full year of this particular clover, and I could count on for the first 3 or 4 years it thickening every year with those mowing. We spray it with the 3-18-18 liquid fertilizer from Deer Grow. Right after that cutting, we get a jump start. So I can't wait to come down here and cut. And the beautiful thing is we can cut down here and the clover's outpacing the deer browsing. So it's not like we're taking browse or volume away from deer. They can't keep up with it anyways. We produce a thick, lush food plot, and then that lasts well into the hunting season. I like this because it establishes a pattern of use by the local buck herd on this clover field, even if they're only coming through here once a month. They know it's here, and you can bet when they start to move their fall range in more towards our property where it's thick, we have the complement of fall food, fall cover, then those deer are going to settle in here, and it offers a great opportunity from our surrounding stand locations. There's a beautiful family tradition ladder stand right behind Dylan, and we can sneak into the back alongside a neighbor's house on our property border. We get into there, we blow our scent back to that location, so we can get in and out of here very effectively without spooking deer. And this presents that perfect pass-through for hunting season as deer are moving through this clover field to get to adjacent holding plots. They're doing so on food that we can allow to actually stay here through the end of November, early December, because we have the complement somewhere else, and that's where it creates that perfect hunting setup. It's also for maintaining clover. It's another beauty. It's part of that movement. It offers a glimpse into our buck ID during the summertime. The camera right over here, we can see what these bucks look like, those ones that we're targeting. But then it also is very easy to maintain. Typically, we're coming in here, we mow this 1 or 2 times per year. There's conflicting advice online, even if you look at clover. If you have weeds in your clover, or you have the potential for weeds, which is most clover fields across the entire country, you might want to mow a couple times a year, because every time you mow, that clover is forever getting thicker. The chicory, the alfalfa that's in here, and it's allowing you to create a very lush stand, and it gets thicker, it combats weed, chokes out weeds. And so mowing a couple times a year and then fertilizing right after. The thing about liquid fertilizer, it doesn't rely on those granulars to actually decompose and work their way into the soil and then be absorbed by the plant. It immediately goes directly into the plant, over 90% of what you spray on it. And so we get an immediate jump, and that also helps combat weeds, because you're getting aggressive growth right after that cutting, based on not only the mowing, that need for that clover to replenish itself, but also because you're adding that fertilizer on and getting that immediate jumpstart growth, and that helps combat weeds. So really, a couple times you're mowing, liquid fertilizer on it, and you have to take care of your clover. I can guarantee if we let this go for about 3 years, each year it would diminish in value, and by the 3rd or 4th year, it'd be 90% weeds out here, and it'd be of zero use in September, October, November, December, January, February, March, when we need it the most. And we're really looking at that high volume amount that we're trying to create during the fall and for hunting season. And again, because of the time management aspect, and deer bedding nearby, traveling through this during the daylight, often 2 hours before dark, getting to a holding plot where we hold them before dark, we're really taking a lot of time management during the hunting season, so that these bucks are not traveling off the property and getting exposed to someone else's land that doesn't have the same values. And I don't care if a neighbor wants to shoot smaller bucks, that's their prerogative, but we have to do our part and say, hey, we want a little bit older buck. Well, then we're going to try to control the time management on the property right here, and that works in with our hunting goals, our herd management goals, and it's just being smart with our food plot offerings. So there's a lot that you can offer with a clover plot, and it really is important. And I could say hunting plots in general, you're always looking for what volume on a hunting plot can I offer that's going to last the longest and maintain a level of attraction. Now, if you're in a northern setting, it might be that you want to layer rye. We'll put 100 pounds down, like in northern Wisconsin, for example. You might put 100 pounds down the 3rd week of August, maybe 100 more pounds down a couple weeks later, and 100 pounds 2 or 3 weeks after that. I call it layering rye. I've been doing that for a long time. And that way you're creating volume horizontally by filling in those with that seed, and you're giving yourself almost like a lawn going in. Because of how aggressive deer eat even small or large quality food sources, sometimes that rye, up north and in those areas where there's no crops for complementary food sources, maybe you don't have other big food plots, then you might want to go to something that's more browse resistant, like a rye. But this clover is perfect for a balance in our area, and I think it is in most areas. There are exceptions. We call it our perennial plot power. We can establish this in the fall, and that's a really cool thing too. Everyone thinks planting clover in the spring. We actually plant ours in the fall. It's a time when weeds are dying, not thriving. It's a time when moisture's on the increase. So what we do is we planted this with a brassica cool season annual attraction for fall. And then we offer that clover base. We call that our Big Boost 365. We have our Fall Power 365. It's the same blend you see here with all this juicy perennial goodness. And but then it has a cool season annual, because when you plant this August 1st, it's not going to mature enough to be any offering in the fall. And so we get our plots ready for the fall, whether it's soil improvement, weed control, and then we plant, you establish this perennial base. The cool season annual dies out or is eaten out over the wintertime, and you're left with this blend. That's how we planted this 2 falls ago. So last year was the first full year of this. This is the second, and we'll continue managing this by cutting, mowing. If there's grass in it, we'll spray clethodim. And we want this chicory in here. This chicory is a welcome benefit. It's actually helps nurse the clover along. It actually acts as a nurse crop, shades out the clover. We'll get high volume clover within this. You want it at a certain percentage, which we have in our mixes. You only want about 2/3 to 3/4 of a pound per acre. And this is a welcome benefit. It actually pulls a lot of nutrients up from down below. So that offers to the field in general. It's improving the soil quality as it's growing. Clover's putting nitrogen back in. And so this is a welcome addition. But bottom line is we don't want to use like a 2,4-DB because it'll take out all this goodness right here and just leave us the clover and alfalfa. So we manage with mowing, cleft it in for grass, and you treat your clover right, it'll treat you for many years to come, your deer herd, your herd management goals, your hunting opportunity. And the cool thing is the best time to plant is still 2 months away from right now. So we're shooting this middle of June, early August when you plant your brassica. Typical brassica planting time is a great time to mix that together. And that's a strategy I've been using for over 25 years now to get my clover established. And as you can see, it worked extremely well. It's not too late to consider a great clover hunting plot for this fall.